You're not a clown, you're a physician. This is Rebooty and the Beast, a podcast in 2 parts. I'm N. Burke.
And I'm Matt Molinaro, and in the first episode of our series, we review an original piece of media, and in the subsequent episodes, which we are deep in now, we do the reboots.
That's right.
Here we are again, back to the Frankensteins.
We're still in the Frankensteiniverse.
Yes, Frankensteiniverse, and I think my TV knows it because I understand it's Halloween time, but a lot of the commercials I'm getting on like YouTube and stuff involve Frankenstein.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's funny.
And the Monsters keeps getting recommended to me.
The
on
Monsters? What's the Monsters?
The Monsters?
Oh, Munsters.
Yeah, like the Addams Family Monsters.
It sounded like you were just saying the Monsters, and I was like, what's the Monsters?
Fair enough. I'm sure a million things, but no, not this time.
Well, speaking of monsters, this movie has one.
It does.
For about 5 minutes.
I haven't seen... Okay, so obviously neither of us had seen this before, right?
No.
And I kind of remember this being in the movie theater.
Okay.
I remember the cast. Like, I remember Daniel Radcliffe and James McAvoy. I remember them on posters looking like this.
Mm-hmm.
I probably looked it over and was like, is this Sherlock or something? It gave me that kind of vibe. And I was like, okay, this seems more familiar to me of a Frankenstein movie. But no, never seen it. Zero expectations. I didn't even watch a trailer at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you really went into it fresh this time.
Pretty much. I mean, after last week, if you haven't heard, go back if you want to experience the trauma. I had very low expectations, and I was like, you know what? Last time I was hopeful because the cast and the idea, and boom. So this time I'm like, you know what? Let me just go in fresh and
see what happens.
Go in and just see what happens. Wander through this haunted house, unaware of what might come out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I kind of already knew that this movie had gotten pretty bad reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, you never know. Maybe it's just like too deep for the typical movie-going audience, and it's, you know, something that people can appreciate in different ways or something like that. So I tried to maintain an open mind as I went into this.
I did too, and I think I did. I wonder how we'll feel about it. I did see the reviews beforehand because I did look up like the Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb scores first.
Okay.
But let's not forget what last week got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, if you only have one friend reviewing it, I feel like that's a pretty easy get.
Just saying.
I will say my openness, my curiosity, my potential hope for this movie lasted for maybe 2.5 minutes.
And this is almost a 2-hour movie, so...
Yeah.
Okay, well, that being said, this is with, like I said, we have James McAvoy as Victor Frankenstein in this. We'll have Daniel Radcliffe as Igor. I didn't recognize any of the other cast, I'm sure. Well, kind of, but not really.
Jessica Brown Findlay from Downton Abbey.
Oh, is that where she's from? Who was she in that?
In Downton Abbey, she was the youngest daughter who died, Sybil.
No, I loved her.
Yeah.
Okay, well then there's her. Andrew Scott, I recognized him. I don't really remember from what, but...
Was he the inspector?
Yes.
Okay.
He had a very familiar face. And also, the guy who was like his sidekick or whatever, who didn't really talk, he kind of looked familiar, but...
I think he looked familiar in the way that I was like, that guy's hot.
Yeah, maybe that's it. He kind of looks like that actor who plays the hot baker in the Chef, or the Bear, rather.
Oh, Jeremy Allen White?
No, I mean, he's gorgeous. But no, there's a guy in the Bear who plays a baker. He's a famous actor. What's his name?
Oh, okay.
Not Marcus, the main guy, but the guy he studies with.
I don't think I've only seen a few episodes of The Bear.
Oh, you've never seen it?
Just a few episodes.
It's stressful to watch.
Yeah.
Will Poulter, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I could see that. I could see a little bit of that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, now I've gotten that, I feel better. Should we do the summary?
Yes, please.
Get into it? All right, so I did read this first, so this is where I was coming from. Told from Igor's perspective, we see the troubled young assistant's dark origins, his redemptive friendship with the young medical student Victor von Frankenstein, and become eyewitnesses to the emergence of how Frankenstein became the man and the legend we know today. Lofty.
I would say that's pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate, but, you know...
I am... Okay, so audience, this movie starts out with kind of a
narration,
a little sneak preview narrative of, the story, the crack of lightning, a mad genius, an unholy creation, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, but there's more to the story, and sometimes the monster is the man. And I will say, like, the opening footage of like like Frankenstein, like it was shot from below Frankenstein's monster's body, up in the sky, being hit by lightning. I thought that footage was cool.
Yeah, a lot of the footage was. I have a lot of feelings about the effects, but I felt the same way. I thought it looked cool. I liked the idea. I liked the blurry images. The little narration was, was getting in the vibe.
Yeah.
A little bit of a cheese factor with narration sometimes, but listen, we're getting into it.
Yeah.
It was 2015, 11 years ago. A lot of movies were doing this kind of vibe at the time, I feel like.
Yeah. It's like set. I forget. I don't know if they ever said what year this was supposed to be set in.
I don't think so. They didn't really do any of that. They just popped him in a circus, and it's very old-timey. Like,
yeah.
I
I want
the
to say
old-timey circus that you would see in, like, a horror movie or, like, American Horror Story in that terrible season.
Yeah. Yeah, so we pretty much jump immediately to Daniel Radcliffe is a hunchback in the circus and is also the company's doctor.
Which I thought was unusual.
Why?
Because they have him as like this circus performer that he's like a clown, and his whole shtick is just getting beat up. Not even just like teased, but like literally beat up in front of people as they clap for him.
Yeah.
But then that's their doctor.
Right.
I mean, he has to be okay to treat you.
Yeah.
It was a little strange, but yeah, that was his backstory. He's got a brilliant mind, which we don't know exactly why, but we find out that he is their doctor, yes.
Yeah, and it seems like he has kind of a crush on one of the performers. Her name is Lorelai, played by Jessica Finley Brown. She's a trapeze artist. And we just get like a little bit of circus footage, and then he is like, little did I know I was about to meet the man who would change my life forever. And we see like a little bit of footage of who we're sure is going to be Dr. Frankenstein. And then we cut to him looking at Lorelai doing her trapeze art, and I was like, she is about to fall and die. And then like 10 seconds, I knew it too. I was like, the minute she hit the ground, I was like, called it.
Yeah, as soon as she was on the trapeze and he said, like, this man would change my life, I was like, she's going to fall off that trapeze.
Yep.
Without a doubt. She has fallen off that trapeze, and it's not going to be her fault.
Yep.
And again, it wasn't. She just snaps, I guess, right?
Yeah, the trapeze kind of snaps and she falls to the ground and can't breathe. And Danny Radcliffe looking more horrifying than you could ever imagine.
Oh, yeah. They really have him done up to be almost unrecognizable.
Yeah. He's kind of over her, and Dr. Frankenstein runs up as well to like look at her. And Dr. Frankenstein is like, there's nothing we can do. She's going to die. And there's this, okay, I'm curious. They do this, a number of times throughout the movie where they do kind of these like anatomical sketches on top of the filmed footage.
Yeah, they've been interspersing it through his beginning narration, which also made me know she was going to fall, because the first time you see it is as she's on the trapeze and he's like looking at her, and then you see, like you just said, you remember Queen's Gambit, I guess?
I do.
And she had those like visions of the chess on the ceiling?
Yes.
It's kind of like that sort of like vibe, like, and you're seeing the inner workings of his, complicated mind, I guess they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about this.
I agree. I think sometimes it was like kind of okay, and then the fact that something else is about to happen on screen that if they had only done this anatomical drawing thing, I would have been okay with it. But there was other weird editing, visual design choices that they made that made this feel cheesy in the context.
Yes, I agree. Because I didn't mind the anatomical things they were doing at the beginning. Like, you kind of heard sketch marks, and I was like, okay, it's 2015. This is very of that time, kind of like showing off different like effects and things like this.
Yeah.
And the setting was very heavy-handed, but it's also that vibe,
Yeah.
But I liked it. And then and I think this is what you're talking about. So she's on the ground. Dr. Frankenstein and him are over her. And now we're seeing the same sort of thing happening, the anatomical thing. She's on her back, and they're looking at her chest and seeing like what's going on underneath. And you could see that Dr. Frankenstein's mind might be working the same way. I'm not quite sure.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, but like, so they're kind of like understanding one another in this moment that they both know what's happening because he's like, there's nothing you could do. Then Igor, who doesn't have a name, by the way, yet, Daniel Radcliffe's character is nameless. He looks at the body and it changes from being just like the anatomical drawing to being like a pumping heart kind of thing and where the break was. And now there were like lines pointing at things showing like fracture and things like that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay. He's like, oh, you're right. Daniel Radcliffe is like, wait, if we just smack her on her chest, we can relocate this and, she'll be fine. Because he could see this with his mind's eye. And Frankenstein's like, oh, you're a genius, but do this instead. And then they smack her in the chest and everything goes back into place and she's awake.
And there was some importance to using a pocket watch in this that was unclear, but...
Right, he's like, do you have a pocket watch? I guess that was supposed to time or brace? I don't know. It was very unclear, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, when they did this effect, when they do some of the like more pumping hearty things or like the diagnoses, I think it gets a little bit like Nintendo DS. Do you remember that game for the Nintendo DS where you're a doctor?
I never had a DS.
Oh my god, it was so fun. But there was this game, and they played it for other things too, like the Wii, but you basically, like, you're a doctor. There's a series of rounds, and you're, like, doing things like taking care of a broken tendon and doing things like this. Like, basically what they were doing on the screen, but with, like, a stylus on a screen.
Okay.
And it very much felt like that.
Interesting.
Like a video game.
Well, so they kind of bring her back to life. This is where we get the line, "You're not a clown, you're a physician." And then Daniel Radcliffe is like, wait, I didn't get your name. And then Frankenstein turns around and we get a straight up Super Smash Brothers. He's ready to battle, like Dr. Frankenstein has joined the battle.
It was very strange.
Very strange.
Very strange. I did not know what was happening when this happened. What's your name? He turns towards him and exactly what you said. Dr. Frankenstein. And there's like weird stitching they put across the screen. Or
Yeah.
Victor Frankenstein. It was very corny. That was very corny.
Unbelievably corny. And that's when I was like, okay, like the sort of X-ray stuff that they'd been doing. I was like, okay, interesting. And then they made this choice and I was like, okay, in the context of this, all of that now feels very cheesy.
Yeah. I was like, I hope this isn't like a thing every time we meet a person, we're going to get this.
And I don't think it, ironically, that's a big, bold choice that they made. And I feel like they only do it that once, right?
No, they do it one more time.
Okay. All right. I forgot.
I'll tell you when it happens. You might have missed it. I certainly
Okay,
didn't.
great.
You think it's gone. And then they catch
So
it.
then for some reason, Dr. Frankenstein is like, you should come with me and study with me or whatever. And then for some reason, the circus decides that because Daniel Radcliffe has received this offer that they're going to burn all of his belongings and put him in a cage.
Okay, this is the part of the movie that made the least sense to me.
Oh my God.
I think even beyond as the movie went on, because I probably feel differently about the movie at this point than you do. I'm still like in it. I'm like, okay, I like this, but
Okay.
I didn't like the title cards flash, and I was getting skeptical about some of the medical stuff, but I still liked it.
Okay.
The next like 15 minutes at least, I feel like I could be exaggerating, but I think it's at least 15 minutes is like the attempted escape from the circus essentially between Victor and Igor as he'll become.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just kept thinking, like, why? Number one, why are they so desperate to keep him
Right.
at this point when they have no idea what his value is at all? They don't even know who this Victor Frankenstein guy is. They don't like him. They don't respect him. So it's not like, oh, this really important person has come for him. And then their solution to not letting him leave for no reason is to burn all of his paperwork, which we find out they don't burn all of it. They leave one random paper. But they burn everything else. And he's like a really good artist too, because he's like, a medical drawer, job title.
Yeah.
And then the escape took so long. They were so violently desperate to keep him.
Yes.
It was like watching someone try to escape from like a military compound.
Correct. It was at this point that my attitude really went, okay, this movie has an identity crisis. This movie doesn't know what it wants to be because it now has become a martial arts film where they're like, slow motion, like jumping over things and knives are being thrown at them. And there's like a fire breather and they like have to like slide and there's explosions. And there's like a moment where they're like in a hall of mirrors. and there's a guy pointing a gun at them, and James McAvoy like turns down the gas lamp to like make it so he can't see through the mirrors to trick somebody else into like throwing a knife, and then it hits the gunman in the heart instead, and it just, oh boy,
It was
this
very
moment.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah.
Out of nowhere, I was like, "Oh, is this going to continue to be the vibe of the movie?" And it doesn't really.
No, they do this like twice or three
Yeah.
times in the movie, but it's just periodically becomes an action adventure movie.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like it fit because who are these? Igor is literally a hunchback who's been beaten at the circus. He could barely walk at this point, like without being in pain. And Victor Frankenstein is just like a random doctor, fancy guy. Now they are Indiana Jones and Crocodile Dundee. I don't
Correct.
understand. And I
makes
just
no
didn't
sense.
understand why it was. I didn't hate it or anything. It was well choreographed and stuff, but it just felt like I looked at Davey and I go, "Why is it so hard to leave the fucking circus?"
I know. I felt the
Like,
same way.
They're shooting fireworks at things, and they also, by the way, they have like expert marksman shots when they're doing things.
Right.
It was very strange, but they eventually get out by going underground through a grate and finding their way to like the other side,
Yeah.
completely unnoticed. Even though it seems to be the most impossible thing to get out of here.
And then they get back to Frankenstein's like laboratory. And my first note is, boy, I hope Daniel Radcliffe doesn't keep this like I'm about to take a shit posture during the whole movie, because it looks really awkward and uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think it would have been hard to keep up, but
Yeah.
they came up with a solution.
A very aggressive and at times homoerotic solution.
I wrote homoerotic 100%.
Thank you.
Beyond. There were many times I watched this with Davey where Davey was like, "Kiss him."
Honestly, thank you. I feel I was like going crazy because you know what? It's funny. In my head, I was like, I know that I know Daniel Radcliffe did a gay movie that's
Yes.
like wasn't set in current day. And so as I was watching this, I was like, is this going to be about a love story between Igor and Frankenstein? And in a lot of ways it was,
Yes.
but it wasn't explicit.
No. It was like when they do those skits on SNL where they make fun of like how lesbians only get these period pieces where they basically like longingly look at carrots and brisk each other's fingers.
Oh my God. I just watched that a few weeks ago, the lesbian period drama sketch.
Yes. They just did another like an update to it too.
Oh my gosh, really? Okay, I have to check that out.
Yeah. It was very that though. It was very like these like little encounters and these longing looks, and there was sort of a random queer element that came up, I feel like.
Was there?
I feel I'll keep my eyes peeled in my notes, but I felt like something else came up where I was like, is this?
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, this scene was very homoerotic because he basically knows that by looking at him that Daniel Radcliffe's character is not truly a hunchback but just has a condition of some type, like an abscess.
Yeah.
And the way he communicates this and does it is he basically just met this guy. He doesn't even know why he's following him. He tackles him. He looks at him like a monster from across the room with this devilish grin, grabs like a needle and a knife, and literally lunges at him and attacks him against the wall. Spins him around.
Takes his clothes off and body slams him against a pillar.
Yes, stomach to back.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, girl, this is wild. And he like aggressively stabs his hump with a like a needle with a big, like a syringe.
Yeah.
And then he does this thing where he's like saying it as he's doing it, and Danny Radcliffe's screaming in pain. He's like, you have a abscess, we just gotta drain it. He uses the needle to pull a bunch of the fluid out, but then randomly also inserts a tube and starts siphoning it with his mouth?
Yeah.
Why?
It didn't make a lot of sense.
Why? Ew. Why? But he drains it. It's instantly fine. And then he throws him in some kind of back brace and smacks him up as though that would not absolutely wreck his back.
Correct.
But he is fine. He is actually walking straight, and he's like, oh my God, I'm walking. I don't have a hump and I'm walking. And he's like, yep. And he asks him his name and he doesn't have one. So he says, okay, you could be Igor. That was my flatmate and he's never here.
Yeah, he's a morphine addict and a complete liar, but he's almost never home. So if anyone asks, you're Igor now.
And he's like, okay.
That honestly, that was the moment that I was like, oh, he's gay. This is a gay thing, because it would be gay for two men to be living together or whatever. So like you're supposed to be his like flatmate or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That too. That.
He showers and cuts his hair. And by the way, he cuts his hair and somehow makes it even more disgusting, in my opinion. Daniel Radcliffe apparently refused to wear a wig during this, so they put extensions in his hair. And so during the entirety of filming, he had to look like this. And his hair is so fucking foul in this movie. It's the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think it looked worse at first because it was very Edward Scissorhands, but make it boring.
Yeah.
And now, that makes sense that it was extensions because it didn't look natural.
No.
It didn't look natural. He has this like long cut that was almost the same length as his hair before he cut it.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't look like he cut very much off. But yeah, it didn't look the best.
So the next day he wakes up and there's a love note from Frankenstein with there's money on the dresser. See you soon. See you for dinner. F. And I was like, this is gay. This is so gay.
Right. Right. I was like, okay, girl. Then they're back. We cut back to the circus where now, the police are doing an investigation because someone was killed during this grand escape, which I kind of feel like based on the time period this was in and the fact that it happened at a circus, it probably wouldn't have been reported.
Oh, for sure not. And also it was the guy who somebody else threw the knife in his chest, but they're trying to frame Igor.
Right. They're trying to frame Igor because he's not there anymore, and they're just like, oh, we can pin it on him. But it's strange that it's even being investigated and that they're even trying to like pin it anywhere. And the way they have his identity and what he looks like is because even though they burned all this paperwork, randomly they didn't burn his self-portrait that he did for himself. For why?
Yeah.
That he has hanging in his room. Like you do. You do a self-portrait and hang it in your room like you're on a Housewives show. And
then there is like a quick scene where Igor goes to the hospital to check on Lorelai, and he sees she like has a fever or whatever. So he like gives some money to the nurse to like take care of her and says, tell her a friend will be back. And then he sees the like wanted for murder posters and brings some of them home. And Frankenstein is like not worried about it. He's like, NBD, like you're not a hunchback anymore. So they're looking for someone who doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. He's like, don't even worry about it. No one will recognize you.
Yeah.
We cut to a scene in Law and Order. In the inspector's office where he's writing with a chalk marker on the glass.
Yes.
Like it's 2005. Developing this long plan out of nothing. This long theory.
He's been like researching, like people have been stealing animal parts, and so he thinks like something. He has no real crime. Really, he's just like something sinister is going on, and I have to investigate it.
Yeah, he's like ultra religious, ultra like conservative, and thinks that anything that happens that he thinks is like an affront to God is a crime.
Also, that man talked so fast, and he barely, like, he keeps his mouth so closed when he talks that I could barely understand anything he said.
He definitely has this, like, very angry man affect to him.
Yes.
Also, the animal parts thing was kind of strange because they find an animal paw in like a velvet sack that like fell out of Frankenstein's bag. I guess the indication is that he went to the circus to get the animal paw, left, but dropped it on the way out.
Yeah, that's the implication, I think.
It was a weird way to connect this all.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, when you find out why he's getting the body parts, it doesn't make sense that he would want an animal, a dead lion's paw.
Correct.
So anyway, just a little strange, but here we are.
So
then
I think we get the dinner scene where he's having dinner with Igor, and he basically tells him, like, I think death can be a temporary condition. And he goes and shows him a pair of eyeballs in a tank. And he says, these eyes are over 3 months old, and I've suspended them in electrified jelly. And then shows him his invention, the Lazarus fork, and says, by passing current through sulfates and metals, I can, bring them to life or whatever. And he does it and then like holds a match in front of the eyes, and the eyes blink in response to the match.
Mm-hmm. And like look around a little bit.
Yeah. And Igor is like, impressive, but you've made a mess of the nerves. That's why they don't move evenly. And this, of course, impresses Frankenstein. And he's like, you'll be my assistant and together we'll change the world.
Which, I didn't mind this, but let's be realistic here. I know we're watching Frankenstein. If Frankenstein isn't a genius doctor who could do this, and the eyes aren't moving together, I don't think it takes a master genius to say something's wrong with the nerves.
Yeah.
But hey, this was illuminating to Frankenstein, and he takes everything Igor says, he just takes at face value as truth that he's learned for the first time and realizes is instantly accurate.
Yes.
Again, we never know where this doctor stuff comes from with Igor.
No.
But whatever, that's fine. Maybe he's a savant.
And then I think we get the like 20-minute supercut of them.
Oh my god, the montage
animating
of organ development.
Yeah,
the organ parade. 500 scenes of Victor Frankenstein going in and out of a basement of some type and bringing out some kind of random organ, and Igor making it move.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah. Then, okay.
Oh, here's the gay part.
Okay, go ahead.
I forgot. You remember this part, right? Because this is when he sees Lorelai leaving the Igor's in the streets, and he sees Lorelai leaving the hospital because he's stalking her. Caring for her, I guess. And he kind of like talks over, and we find out that she has a wealthy benefactor.
Right.
And we'll meet him a tiny bit later, but we also find out that Igor arrives home to find a final eviction notice for himself at the place, and is like, Victor, what is this?
Right.
And he's like, don't worry about it. Throw this away. We're going to a party.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to a party.
Let's go to a party.
And at this party, Victor Frankenstein is a effing nightmare. He is the last person you want to encounter at a party.
Oh my God. He literally, there are a couple times in this movie where he is the person who has done a lot of cocaine and thinks that everything he has to say is the most important thing in the world.
Oh, 100%. Cocaine to the maximum. He is
the person who, at the club, backs you into a corner and starts asking you about your star signs.
I knew you were going to go there. It is. He's sitting at a table with two women who want nothing to do with him, or Igor probably, and he's like mansplaining fertilization to women.
Yeah.
And slamming his fists on the table and screaming every time he has something to say. It is a nightmare, and they look uncomfortable, and Igor slips away because he sees Lorelai, who doesn't recognize him, of course, and she's like, oh my god, it's you, you saved my life. And we find out that her thing is now, she's with this guy, but he's basically like, he is gay, and secretly is gay, but everyone is an unknown secret, but she's kind of like his beard for out in the world.
Yeah.
And she, in return, she performs at his cabaret.
Right.
And then we see him, like, yucking it up with a bunch of guys. So that's the gay angle here.
Well, that's one of the gay angles.
That's the other part I was mentioning. I had remembered. I'd forgotten and remembered now. And as they're, like, talking, they're looking down at Victor being the same way on the floor, probably breaking a glass or something. And she's like, is he always like that, your friend? And he's like, kinda. Not
yeah,
really.
He's like, well,
kinda.
Sometimes he's like very smart and whatever and blah, blah, blah. And then Frankenstein, of course, corners her into conversation and is starting to talk about life after death. And she's like, I find this very unsettling. And they wrap up the evening with Frankenstein telling Igor, like, I don't want you seeing her anymore. She's a distraction from our work. And then he says, it's time for you to meet our monster.
Okay. Weird thing, though. Number one, when he tells her his name is Igor, she laughs.
Which is never explained.
Multiple times, and she just keeps laughing. That's perfect for you. It never explained.
Right.
It happens multiple times, very strange. Number two, the way Victor kind of gets Lorelai's intrigue instead of being, like, disgusted by him is because in his obsession about talking about reanimation, he pulls out a playing card.
Yes.
With hearts on it that says death in the middle of it. Where he got this, I don't know. And that he lights it with a match and it burns away the top layer to a card underneath that says life.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to acknowledge that because it made absolutely no sense.
Who is he, Gambit? What is happening? Where did this... Is he David Blaine?
It was very David Blaine. It was very David Copperfield. It was...
Then he pulls out a coin behind her ear and takes her nose. It was very strange.
Right. And he starts pulling a bunch of colored kerchiefs tied together out of her nose. Okay, so...
Anyway, back to meet the real monster.
Yes, he takes him to the lab, and shows him like this thing that he has stitched together, which is truly horrifying to look at. Like, of all the Frankenstein things we've seen, this is the one that I was like, I really hope I don't have to look at this for very long.
Yeah, it was really grotesque looking.
Extremely grotesque.
It was like roadkill badly sewn together.
Yeah.
With like, it was really poorly done from all different animals, and you really couldn't tell. At first it looked like it was like a big like rodent head or something, like,
yeah.
But later on you find out it's like a monkey. It was very scary. And I kept thinking, okay, wait, if this is Frankenstein's monster in this movie,
oh my God,
I'm going to have a lot of disappointment. Because I'll be honest with you, I had some feelings, as you could hear, about the movie so far. I still didn't really have much of a problem with it, though.
Okay.
For all that being said. But this, I was like, okay, if this is the monster, it's gross and creepy, but this is not Frankenstein.
Right.
Yeah, so they have this thing, and he's like, I can make it come alive, basically. And, he turns everything on, basically, all his, machinery, whatever. And this is the one thing I'll say about the graphics that I don't think was very successful, ironically.
Okay.
The electric lightning stuff.
Terrible.
It didn't look real. And some of the stuff they were doing looked fine, looked good.
And do you know why it didn't look real? It was very charmed electrical superpowers because it didn't light up anything. It was just on the screen. So it made it clear it was not part of the environment around them.
True. It was very strange. And I kept thinking, like, of all the effects, this is kind of one of the more important ones.
Yeah.
And they used a lot. It gets better later on when there's a lot of it, but these little like electrical things were very TV show, miniseries.
Very charmed.
Weird. Yeah. But yeah, it starts moving around a little bit, breathing and blinking and stuff, and like retching. So he's like,
so
see, you could do it. I could do it. We could do it together. Be my partner. He
literally says, from this day forth, you're my partner. And I was like, gay, even gayer. Gay. We're getting gayer from the jump. So then Lorelai gets a letter saying, like, we've had a breakthrough. Come to the college tonight. We're going to show everyone, change the world, blah, blah. And then they get to like this lecture hall where I think Frankenstein thinks like everybody's going to be there. And there are a total of like 5 people in the room.
Yeah, there were 7 people, all separate from each other, standing as far back as possible. And then Lorelai comes in. So total of 8.
And this is where we get introduced to a character who I will only refer to as Miss Honey, who is the like rich colleague of Victor's, a classmate, who is gayer than life, like wearing this just like Mrs. Peacock big coat, and is very impatient and gay. So gay.
What was his name? Rafferty or something? I forget.
I think it was Finnegan.
Oh, Finnegan. Yeah, they all have these kind of names. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, Finnegan. He was gayer than gay.
So the demonstration goes wrong at first, and some like flies fly out of the monkey corpse, but then they like electrify it a few more times, and it goes bananas and start. I didn't intend to make a monkey bananas joke, but I did.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, it goes nuts, goes bananas.
And this is the second action adventure sequence we get where Igor has to like chase a monkey around this college, and it like attacks him a couple times, and there's like electricity shooting around and things on fire.
Mm-hmm. It hides in like dark rooms and jumps up on him, bursts out like the Mothman.
He almost falls down like an entire stairwell with the monkey corpse clinging to his back.
Mm-hmm.
And Frankenstein like chooses to save the homunculus over Igor, but then Igor's like, we have to kill it. And they beat it to death with like some vase that's nearby or something like that.
It was kind of sad.
It was kind of sad.
That was kind of sad seeing them kill an animal, even though, it's like a creation. It was still sad the way it had happened.
Well, and the other part of that is, I think, like, it was clear that Frankenstein valued his creation of the homunculus more than he valued Igor. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a pivotal turning moment in their relationship. And it really wasn't.
No, Igor just kind of is like, makes sense. Tracks.
Meanwhile, Miss Honey comes in and says, like, I'm impressed and I'm going to give you money to build another one, and then, like, sachets out of the room.
Yes. And he's like, bye, girls. Bye, queens.
Let's see.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Igor had a abscess on his back for his whole life and is wearing a back brace to stand up straight, and he's falling down the steps and doing, Indiana Jones stunts again with the chimpanzee.
Yes. Then I think the next thing is the inspector kind of like shows up looking at the aftermath
Again,
And
why?
why? Yeah.
How did this get out there? Clearly, if they're trying to do this experiment and get this all done, this would not be like public knowledge.
No.
But again,
But
maybe
they,
it's one of the 7 people that were in the room that we never identified said something. But yeah, I thought, okay, strange that the inspector's here in the first place, and strange that he's making this connection.
yeah. And so then I think he shows up at the lab and recognizes Igor from the circus. And basically, like, there's this, like, really long, boring scene where the inspector, like, threatens Frankenstein, and Frankenstein kind of, like, threatens him back. And it doesn't really advance any plot at all.
Yeah, it just shows like these two are at odds, and it's really like, I think, laying down that the cop guy is motivated by his like religion, and Victor is motivated by science, and I think it's their way of trying to shoehorn this religion versus science argument, and that they do it kind of haphazardly throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to lay the groundwork for, but it felt almost like the writing of this argument felt almost like it was written for like a class. Like write a conflict between 2 people.
Yeah.
Be creative. I'll give you a word. Laboratory.
So then Igor, dressed as the Cat in the Hat, goes and meets Lorelai, who is dressed as the Lucky Charms leprechaun. And she says that his experiments are wrong and he needs to stop and whatever. But Igor's like, no, we're doing cool things. And then Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones shows up. And I was like, oh, I love Charles Dance is his name.
That's where I know him from.
And he is playing Frankenstein's father and basically like shows up to tell Frankenstein he's a blight on the family name. He's a disgrace and they're kicking him out of college and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, get your stuff together. I wish you could have been more like Henry, your brother, and it's a shame we want nothing to do with you.
Yes.
And he's like, but we're doing this thing. He's like, you're doing nothing.
And I think this is where Igor kind of like takes a little pity on him and sees that like, you know, his idea to bring life, like in order for it to work, like they're going to need 2 sets of lungs and in order for it to kind of like, I don't know, breathe. And then he also says like, not just 2 lungs, 2 sets of lungs, 2 hearts in order to pump the blood through the whole body. And I'm like, you do know that 1 heart pumps the blood through the whole body right now, right?
Right. And they know it, they're going to make it bigger, but how they're making it seem like they're making it like the size of a giant.
Correct.
And I don't think that's how that works. I don't think you could just put it, but hey, I mean, we're suspending disbelief. Yeah. We are making a monster.
And then they have their biggest cokehead session yet, where we get like a 20-minute montage of them like drinking and sketching hearts and things like that.
Okay. Do you remember in Vanderpump Rules, the season where Tom and Tom were making Tom Tom and they do like mushrooms and then come up with their idea?
Yes.
And it's the dumbest thing in the world. And they come up with some sort of stupid thing. This is that. This is
100%.
2 guys high out of their fucking minds thinking that everything they say is genius and then waking up the next morning and having a bunch of scribbles on a piece of paper.
Correct. Yes.
But instead, they end their like brainstorming session with like them looking at a pocket watch of his or for some reason. And he goes, yeah, it's Victor's. And Igor's like, is it precious? And then we cut away and we don't know what happened. But honestly, it's pretty obvious as soon as they talk about the pocket watch what happened.
Yeah.
But they make it like a big reveal later on. But anyway, so is it precious? Another nod to this mysterious pocket watch.
So Frankenstein says, tonight we begin constructing our Prometheus. And Igor is like, actually, I got invited to a dance, so I'm going to go to a dance.
Mm-hmm.
And Frankenstein is disappointed by this, of course, but he's like, whatever, go, dance. And then we see Igor and Lorelai dancing at the ball, and then suddenly he's got his shirt off and they're kissing, and like maybe they fuck, but it's unclear. And
I think they make it seem like they fucked because they have that morning after glow moment, and he's smiling really big when he's walking down the street.
Yeah,
you know, but they give you nothing.
No. And I was just like, I feel like she's only in this movie at this point to make it less gay so that, like, middle America will watch this movie.
Oh, for sure. But this was very gay because as soon as he left to go be with Lorelai, Victor got very jealous like a lover.
Exactly.
Fine.
Exactly.
Go see her. See if I care. Whatever. It was very like Interview with a Vampire, the TV show.
Very that, but boring. So then...
And much less sexual tension.
Yes. So then when he comes back the next morning, the inspectors are trying to break down the door to the laboratory, and he like runs in and like tells Frank, there's a lot of yelling dialogue that is hard to understand, but Frankenstein's like, we're not going to lose everything and, you know, blah, 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 and they're not going to take me. And so then there's this weird moment where he's like in the ice closet, go in the ice closet, and he opens it and the something that looks like the Yeti from the Matterhorn ride at Disneyland kind of shuffles out in a big ice cube, and we find out that was the original Igor, and that Frankenstein had stolen his eyes, and those were the eyes he showed him earlier. And he's like, you killed him, and he's like, no, he died from an overdose. All I did was pluck out his eyeballs for science, like no big deal.
Yeah.
And then Inspector Tinymouth comes in and like points a gun at him, and they fight, and he crushes the inspector's hand in a machine.
Yeah, okay. He crushes the inspector's hand in the machine like it's Chrono Trigger. He also, like, this whole frozen body thing is very like Encino Man. How was this hidden in the laboratory that is also with Igor, and Igor didn't find it?
Well, and better question, it's not like they had refrigerators back then.
Yeah, he just kind of popped out of nowhere in this big ice cube. Like,
correct.
What? Like, Pauly Shore. It was very strange. It was very strange. But I'll tell you this. As soon as they said earlier on in the movie that Igor was not around much and was his flatmate, I was like, oh, Igor is going to be the body.
Oh, interesting.
Instantly. I was like, Igor's going to be the body. When they find Igor, he's already dead, and he's going to be the body.
Yeah.
So when this happened, I was like, okay, there it is.
So they head to Miss Honey's house, and Miss Honey is like, I've got a family castle in Scotland. It's the perfect place for you to do your science. And Frankenstein and Igor have like a little lover spat, and Igor's like, I'm not going with you. I'm staying here. You go do your science. I'm going to be with Lorelai.
And like, see how far you'll get.
Yeah. So they split up. Frankenstein gets in the carriage, and then Miss Honey basically stabs Igor in the back and says, like, you know too much for me to let you walk away. And he ties him up, and they throw him in the river.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With that thing over his head.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. But very strange.
Despite having a debilitating disability his entire life, he manages to undo his ties while within the river and escape.
Mm-hmm. And then we get no explanation of how or why, but later on we see him with Lorelai being taken care of.
Correct. Inspector Tinymouth has been removed from the case because he's like too close to it, and he's, you know, his hand has been cut off, and they're also taking him off the force temporarily. But he, of course, is at this point unreasonably kind of obsessed with Frankenstein and decides that like he can't let this go. He's going to go above the law and pursue it anyway.
Right. And at the same time, now Detective Tinymouth, as you call them or whatever, has become a character from Terminator because he has a prosthetic wooden hand already.
Yeah.
With fully movable fingers somehow. And, strangely, his eye has turned white, one of them?
Well, I think it's because there was a moment where when his hand was in the grinding gears, there was sparks shooting in his face.
Oh, I could not understand why his eye was white for the rest of the movie. I was like, is it a cyborg? Is he... what is happening? But yes. Then we get Lorelai nursing Igor back to health, and then we got a scene of the explanation of the pocket watch from before.
Yes,
which is Victor. It's Victor's pocket watch. He snuck out in the middle of the night when it was snowy with someone else, which is not saying who it is, and he almost died in the blizzard, and the watch reminds him that they're immortal. And he's like, did someone else die? And then he's like, yes. And then the word Henry is in the watch, and we heard about Henry earlier from the dad.
Yeah.
So we get it. His brother died. His older brother died in the blizzard, and he's like, you know, death is not good enough. He needs me, whatever. And what's his name? He's like, death is not good enough, and he realizes, like, I guess in that moment he's realizing like what Victor's motive is and feels bad for him. So he's like, I have to go to him. It's come to me. Like, he needs me. I can't abandon him.
Yeah, and he has to like save him from Miss
himself.
Honey, he thinks is gonna kill him as well.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm leaving. And Lorelai's like, you owe him nothing. He's like totally gaslit you and treated you poorly. And he's like, no, I gotta do it. So she's like, okay,
I got
fine,
to.
let's go.
Yeah, so she insists on going with him, and they like ride up to the castle in Scotland in a carriage, and they see like armed men at the drawbridge or whatever, and so their grand plan is she is going to dress up as Little Red Riding Hood and distract them while he runs through the bushes around them to get to the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which works.
And then the biggest plot hole imaginable happens, which is she goes back to the carriage after distracting the guards. And behind her, you see the inspector who's like, what's all this? And then he like grabs her and she struggles against him, even though they have never been in a scene together up to this point. They do not know who the other person is.
No, very strange. I thought that was strange too. She gets detained.
Yeah.
I was like, why?
Right, because Inspector Tinymouth has decided that that Frankenstein is in allegiance with Satan and he must be stopped. And then we cut to like the scene in the castle where they're like about to animate the body.
Yeah,
and
Frankenstein's got a whole team of people.
Yeah, there's like 30 people all wearing like
Lab
Hugo Boss
coats.
lab wear.
Yeah.
There's like a flame pit at the bottom for some reason.
Yeah, it's this very big circular strange room
Yes.
with no ceiling.
Igor manages to tell Frankenstein that like Miss Honey is going to kill you and steal your research.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, this is all about your brother, isn't it? You want to stop? Okay, so this is another thing that annoyed me. He's like, you want to stop others from enduring the pain you felt. And then Frankenstein is like, no, I accidentally took my brother's life, so I have to redress the balance. And I'm like, that's what he just said.
Right. And Davey was like,
But
why doesn't
sure.
he just have a kid?
Oh, honestly.
Have a kid. Way easier.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's not going to raise the kid anyway, so that's why I say way easier for him. He could just have a kid
Yeah.
and feel better, because we know Victor Frankenstein's not raising, caring for somebody else.
No.
But yeah, it was very strange. We get a montage of creating this man, and we see the figure of like what his monster is on like a gurney in the air type thing.
Yeah, almost kind of like a full body cage.
Yeah, it's just, kind of in the air lingering, and he's like, I'm doing this more for the glory. I don't care if Miss Honey wants to steal my technology. I will have like my name on this forever, and I'll go down in the history books and I'll be somebody. So they can't actually decide his motive. They give him quite a few.
And so then it breathes, it moves its fingers after the lightning hits it and all that. And
I thought that
then-
was kind of cool, the balloons.
Yeah, the balloons were cool. The lightning was cool.
The lightning
That all
looked way
looked
better than the
good,
electric.
For sure.
And this electric was like a lot, and it looked a lot better,
Yes.
thankfully. Yeah, now they got, the lightning's coming, it's shooting at all these things. The Lazarus fork is there, and I wrote that Victor Frankenstein says something, but he spits so much that I can't even remember what he said.
He spits so much throughout this entire movie. I
There's
noticed
so
that
much
too.
spit. Whoever made this movie has a saliva fetish.
Yes.
And then we see, his modern day Prometheus, which is, I guess, nod to the original title of the book.
Yeah, ironically though, Frankenstein the scientist was supposed to be Prometheus because he like stole fire from the gods or whatever
right, yeah.
kind of thing. But whatever. So then somebody shouts like, "Sir, I must warn you, we are overloading," in like a bad German accent, which doesn't make sense because they're in Scotland supposedly.
Yes.
And then something goes wrong, and the corpse, the body turns in. She came in like a wrecking ball, like Miley Cyrus, starts swinging around the entire like castle like
Yes.
a big electrified wrecking ball.
Yeah, he is literally Miley Cyrus in Wrecking Ball. He is he's Lady Gaga at the halftime show jumping off the cliff.
Yes.
He is Pink on a trapeze over her
Yes.
concerts.
And it like starts destroying things, but through its wrecking ball, fire, explosion, electricity, it like slams into Miss Honey. She falls into the pit of fire.
And Miss Honey's dad.
Yes.
Both
and
dead. A ton of the workers are being killed.
Yes. Basically, everyone except for Frankenstein, Igor, the monster, and shortly we'll find out the inspector are dead. And so it's just kind of like the four of them. And we see the monster who looks like Thanos.
Yes, he gets up finally. I think this is like when he finally gets up, right? He like stands up.
Yes.
Yeah, he looks very much like Thanos. I thought he looked good though.
I do too. I think it was actually one of the better Frankenstein. Certainly better than last week.
Oh gosh, yes.
But yeah, they did kind of like the flat head as a nod to the original, and
Yeah.
he looked good.
He looked good. The stitching was good. The flathead wasn't like corny. It looked kind of like what would happen in creating this, you know?
Although I will say one really big problem I had is they put the monster in like denim booty shorts.
Oh, they gave him like a loinclothy sort of like, yeah, like Incredible Hulk, but like it almost looked like leather. It was like,
yeah,
also homoerotic.
Very.
He kind of looked like a professional wrestler when he was fighting sometimes from behind.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is like he looked good. I didn't mind it. I thought it was good. And I like that he wasn't green.
Agreed.
Like kind of like the original monster color, how I would imagine him. You couldn't see like his body parts through it, but like you got the idea. It was good.
Yeah.
And then Victor Frankenstein looks at him and says, "I'm your brother."
Yeah.
Ooh, grim.
Dark, yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't say anything. He just stands there, and he's like, Victor Frankenstein, I guess, realizes finally, this is not my brother. I made something, but it's not going to interact with me like a human being.
Yeah, he's like, this is not life that I've given you.
And he's like, I'm sorry, I've wronged you. This is not life.
And then the inspector shoots the monster, and the monster goes into a homicidal rage.
Yes. Unfazed by the bullets, but he's tossing people over. He gets the inspector. I think he kills him at this point, or no?
He throws the inspector into the electrical cage, and I do think it kills him.
Yeah, he throws the inspector with incredible accuracy at the cage, and it electrocutes him, and he does a lot of sparks.
And this is our third big action adventure sequence. Lots of explosions, lots of electricity, some punches, some jabs, people being thrown around.
Lots of trying to impale the monster between Frankenstein and Igor with random sharp objects that are so sharp they go directly through this person's body.
Well, and I'm sorry, you're ignoring the fact that they do some straight up Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon leaps through the air to do these like javelin throws.
Oh, absolutely. They're like Avatar, The Last Airbender. They are literally doing soaring through the air with a broken stick that is probably made of like nothing, and they are impaling through the back. It is the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
But don't forget, they think they've won for a moment, and then James McAvoy goes, Igor, 2 hearts, because he forgot that he gave him 2 hearts, and they've only stabbed through one of them, so then they have to kind of battle him some more and stab him through the second heart.
Yes, and this is when I started singing 2 of Hearts by Stacey Q.
Or Kylie Minogue.
What's that one?
She just has a song called 2 of Hearts.
Oh, I bet you it's the cover, because it feels like a Kylie Minogue song, the original. 2.
Oh, it's a different song, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And so
so they kill him, and he's like impaled on the 2 sticks through his heart, and that's sad too.
Yeah. And then, inexplicably, it's the next morning, and Igor's kind of like waking up, and Frankenstein is gone, but Lorelei is there, and she finds a letter, or he finds a letter from Frankenstein. So apparently they just decided, let's go to sleep here in the murder pit that we've created.
Let's just sleep on the floor here.
Right.
It's been a long day.
And then the movie kind of ends with Igor reading this love letter from Frankenstein that's like, you were my best creation ever, but 3's a crowd. You go be with Jessica, and I'll be in love with you forever. Goodbye.
Your friend. And then, okay, before we get to the end then, because this is probably a part you missed, because you probably immediately turned it off. One, as he's reading this letter, we see Frankenstein in today's time, which is, by the way, the next morning, again, still, and they show him writing the letter.
Right.
Not like where he is now. And we're meant to believe that he is writing the letter on in New Zealand on a cliff.
Right.
He's a traveler now. He's got like a little vagabond cap and like a cute walking stick. He's totally cleaned up and looks great. Totally unaffected by this within hours of this event. And he's off who knows where. And then this is how the movie ends. And I'm so sad you missed this. Okay. He says, he finishes the letter, reading it. We hear the narration and he goes, your friend, like from. And then instead of it saying Victor Frankenstein, they put the title card thing up again from the beginning.
Yeah.
That flash, like that that Victor Frankenstein is joining the party from Smash Brothers thing. They do it again.
Yeah.
They end the movie on it.
I did see that. Yeah, I forgot. I blocked it out of my memory because at this point I was like, Jesus Christ, get me out of here.
I was like, that is not it. That is not the ending. That title card. But it was.
Yep. So, would you like 2 pieces of trivia?
I would. I'm very curious.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I already spoiled one, which was that Daniel Radcliffe wore hair extensions because he didn't want to wear a wig.
Which, by the way, again, that doesn't make sense to me that he even needed a wig. He was cutting his hair.
Agreed.
It doesn't make sense. And maybe he didn't want to look too much like his previous roles. But have you ever seen America's Next Top Model when they started doing men and Tyra would put hair extensions in? Like their beards and stuff, and it looked terrible?
No, I've never watched the seasons where there were men models.
It's the same.
It's so gross.
What else do you have for trivia?
The only other thing I have is that Charles Dance from Game of Thrones would eventually go on to be in the new 2025 Frankenstein as Victor Frankenstein's father.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm excited about. Yeah.
I didn't have any major complaints with him.
No. I mean, he was in it for 30 seconds.
What's that?
I said he was in it for like 30 seconds.
True. That's true. And Frankenstein wasn't in it for the Frankenstein monster, Prometheus or whatever, was not in it for very long either.
No, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah. They should have had more of him. I mean, he was done well, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
so ratings?
I have the ratings.
Okay.
We have IMDb gave it a 6.0.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter was 26% and the audience meter was 37%.
Damn, that is so brutal.
I know. I think this is going to be controversial. I don't think you're going to agree. I liked it.
Oh my gosh, did you really?
Overall, I liked it. I don't know if it was just because the last one was so terrible and I had such low expectations. I overall had complaints, obviously, and there were things that I thought were cheesy and could have been changed. And I think it could have been about 20 minutes shorter, probably 35. But I didn't mind the acting, even though it was some over-the-top choices from Frankenstein. But they were trying to make him crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And like manic and wild and obsessed. So that was fine for me. And overall, like I didn't really have much of a problem with it. It was just like a lot of choices that I had to do with like the story itself. Like I think the identity crisis of the action scenes, the weird title cards, the bad electric, and some of the weird things that were never quite explained. I think were kind of like very easy to figure out, like the pocket watch thing, and it just felt like a lot of ideas that didn't quite need to be there. And the things that could have been explained a little bit better or handled a little bit better, they rushed past. Like the curing of his hump was just instant, but then we got a 20-minute montage of making organs.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I found myself thinking the same thought, which was not particularly coherent, but several times during the movie, I was like, if this movie was good, it would just be good. Like, it's not that it was like awful, it just wasn't good.
It wasn't a complete thought. It was a lot of thoughts and strange choices that felt confusing at times.
Yeah,
I liked the setting though overall. Like the circus didn't make sense to me, but I liked the way they did the. It was very transporting, like whatever. It really transported you to the settings you were in. It was very shot very well. The music was fine. You know, there was a lot of things I liked about it, to be honest. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love it at all. But I do think like if it had had a little more time to cook, I think it could have been pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like the Igor perspective.
Yeah, I think I would have I think I would have played up some of the like obsession between Igor and Frankenstein a little bit more for it to make sense.
Yeah.
You know, I would have probably taken the inspector storyline out of it entirely because it didn't really do much for the plot. It just kind of was weird and unnecessary.
Yeah, it really was. There could have been so many other foils to him.
Exactly. Like if it was really about religion or whatever, maybe it was a priest or something. I don't know.
Right. Or they could have had, Lorelai have someone in her life that opposed it, or it could have been like the original where the monster actually gets out and actually causes some harm and then people have a reason to be afraid of him.
Yeah.
You know, it just felt like this like, ooh, this is going to change science. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I would have cut out the character of the rich classmate, or I would have cut him down, you know? He would have been there to provide maybe the space, but I don't think he needed to be like, ooh, I'm going to kidnap Igor and I'm going to steal your science.
Yeah. So what would you rate it?
I'm going to be probably way different than yours. I'm going to give it a 6.5. 5. Yeah, I think
That is the same rating you gave the original Frankenstein, just for context.
The original one?
The original.
Yeah, I think I'll match it. It was entertaining.
Okay.
I didn't find myself being like, "Oh God, when is this over?" Like when I paused it once to go to the bathroom, it was already like an hour and 20 minutes in.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, the pacing's not terrible. Like it was a little long for sure, but there are some of the movies we watched where I'm like, pause it, and I'm like, not even halfway through, and I'm like, no way, that's impossible. So
I'm giving it a 2 only because I gave the 94 Frankenstein with Helena Bonham Carter a 2, and it feels wrong to give this more than that.
Ooh, okay, yeah. See, I definitely disagree, but I love that. I love when we disagree.
Do you think this is a beauty or a beast?
I'm gonna say it's a beauty. I think it ventured into beauty territory for me. I think it was close, but I think overall, I would watch this again if it were on. I wouldn't pick it, but if someone had this on, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is terrible. Whereas the last movie, I could never.
Yeah, I'm obviously gonna give it a beast.
A beast. I love it. We don't disagree too often on that front, so it's always interesting when we do.
I know.
I knew while I was watching it, though, I was like, oh, Edna's gonna hate certain parts of this.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, man. Well, listeners, did you know that for $0 a month, you can help support our podcast simply by rating and reviewing it on whatever platform you are using to listen to this episode?
That's right. And also $0, but big value is spreading the word about our podcast, because that's the way people find podcasts, really. I mean, you probably heard about us from someone else, so spread the word.
Our social media is RebootyPod on Instagram, and you can email us at rebootypod@gmail.com. We do love getting emails, so send us one and say hi.
And you can check us out on Patreon. It's patreon.com/NandMatt. We have a lot of content where we played games for years now, and we also have a lot of movie reviews lately. We're coming out with one that's going to be in line with spooky season shortly, so check it out.
And thank you for listening to Rebooty and the Beast.
See you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.